What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Abundant Relationships. If this is your first time, my name is Evans-Claude Sabbi, and what I do here is teach dating and relationship principles that allow people to get out there and have the kind of relationships that they're truly proud of. And in today's video, I'm going to address the concern of women's safety in public. And I know this is not a sexy topic for a lot of men out there, especially. However, this is one of those videos that you really need to listen to. The main reason why I'm saying this is because I'm always curious as to why one person or a set of people will behave one way and not the other. With this curiosity, especially when it came to women and their behavior and how they respond to things, I have been exposed to the way that they operate. You know, why a woman thinks one way and why a man thinks another way. Why a woman might say one thing and how she might respond to something completely different. And these are conversations I've had over and over again with women, and they've made me understand and have allowed me to teach other men how to truly understand women and how to be able to influence women in a way that's going to be beneficial for both people. And over this period that I've immersed myself in getting to understand women, it becomes very hard to keep on muting some of these concerns that they have. And one of the biggest concerns that I keep on hearing over and over again is the fact that women don't feel as safe when they're in public. And this keeps on being validated with seeing all these assaults on women. When I see women getting sexually assaulted, women getting physically or verbally assaulted by men. And most times men don't see this as a problem because, again, it doesn't happen to them, as we're going to see when I read something from one of the women that I had a conversation with. But just because it doesn't affect us directly, doesn't mean it doesn't affect us in one way or another. North of 50% of women I've talked to have either been sexually assaulted, physically assaulted, and I would say over 90% of them have told me that they have been verbally abused by a man. And I can personally attest to seeing scenarios where a man chooses to verbally abuse a woman just because she showed that she was not interested in him in one way or another. I do not have a solution to this, but I think it's worth having this conversation, especially in the environment where men happen to be. And I know you might be one of those men that says, I am not the kind of guy who would even think of sexually assaulting a woman or physically beating her up or saying something nasty just because she rejects me. But that doesn't really solve the problem. You see, most of us can detach ourselves and say, I am not responsible for any of that. As much as you might be one of those men who does not assault women in any way or shape or form, this doesn't mean that you cannot be part of the solution. This doesn't mean that you're not responsible to being part of the solution to women feeling safe out there. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you look around, the kind of men who go out there and get physically abusive or sexually assault women, it's not that they never had friends in the past. It's not that we didn't see these signs coming. It's just that we chose to ignore those signs. We chose to walk away because these things do not affect us directly, because our safety is not threatened personally. I'm going to read something to you guys that I want you to pay very close attention to. This was a woman who was expressing how she feels men take this concern of women's safety or lack of women's safety, as far as the fact that most men don't see this as a big deal. I think you'll see it differently once I read this. This woman says, Evans, maybe some men don't know, but I think most just don't see it as that big of a deal. For example, I was grabbed by a guy whom some of my male friends knew. I was very upset. They did deal with it at that time, but later, one of them told me, oh, he was just drunk. He's actually not that bad of a guy. So many times being drunk is used as an excuse by the perpetrators as well as their enablers. I call them enablers because the fact that they don't hold these individuals accountable further validates the perpetrator's violations, so he never learns and keeps preying on women. I've also come across men who will listen to a woman's story, but they choose to make their decisions on how they deal with the predator based on their own experience with him. The problem with that is the predator will not treat his male friends the same way he will treat a woman, because his male friend is not his prey of choice. A woman can pick up on a silent predator in a room much better than a man can, simply because she's the predator's prey. Kinda like how white privilege works. Other men can be oblivious to these dangers and aggressions and microaggressions because he doesn't experience it on a day-to-day basis. So, as you've just heard, this is not something new. This is something that has been happening for ages with women, but we're in this place where you as a man who is watching this can actually make a difference. This is not something that's only exposed to women and men don't see it. We just happen to see things differently in a way that we see that it's not a threat to us and we choose not to respond. However, it becomes a completely different reality with the women that have to deal with these men. There's a guy that I know who's an acquaintance, and he views women a little bit different than I do. His preferred way or his wish on how to satisfy his sexual needs is, and he actually told me this, he wishes we were still back in the time when he could have women as sex slaves. He wants to have women who are sex slaves who are going to be there for him. I actually talked to him and I made it clear to him that his vision was actually destructive to other people. And I don't think I was able to change his mind in any way, but it was not something that I personally supported. Now, from what I read about what that woman wrote and the experience I've had with this acquaintance that I've just told you, there is this theme that keeps repeating itself with these men who tend to have these destructive behaviors when it comes to how they deal with women because they look at them as being more vulnerable to them. There is this sense of them wanting to put someone else down in order for them to satisfy their desires. Now, these men who end up being abusive to women, they're essentially scared of raising their standards to a point where they can face their fear, they can face rejection, where they can be confident, approach women, have conversations, and raise someone's experience. He finds it easier to sexually assault a woman. He tries to put someone down so that he can satisfy sexual needs. Also, a man who gets rejected, instead of him seeing that rejection as a stepping point or something to learn from, he looks at that and says, you know what? I'm going to verbally abuse this woman so I can make myself feel better. And if you're a man and you have people in your circle who tend to behave this way, maybe it's time for you to have that conversation with them. Maybe it's time for you to tell them, hey, instead of you wanting to put someone else down, what do you think about upping your confidence level? What do you think about communicating a little bit better? What do you think about taking that rejection and learn from it so that you can be better with the next woman that you approach? Because if we don't have these conversations, if we don't tell someone that their viewpoints or their approach to life is destructive to someone else, it will reach a time when this man is already inflicting so much pain to a woman that it becomes too late for us to do or say anything. So say something right now. Allow these people to get a different perspective. Let them know that it's unacceptable so that at some point, even if you make that little change in that person's life, even if you make them switch the way they think, it will hopefully lead to less women feeling unsafe when they're out there. And over time, with us men taking responsibility for the safety of women out there, it doesn't matter if we are related to them or not, but standing up to our friends, standing up to these men who are behaving in a way that might be destructive, hopefully it leads to women feeling safer. Hopefully it leads to everyone, not just women, everyone existing in a place that's harmonious, in a place where they feel they can fully be themselves, in a place where they feel safe to express themselves in a way that matters the most to them. So that's what I have for you guys in today's video. I will go ahead and make another video on how to proper etiquette of approaching women in public, just to kind of give a full round and complete this theme of making women feel safe when in public. Thank you very much. Subscribe for weekly videos on dating and relationships. This video is a little bit of a heavy topic, so there was not a lot of excitement on here. But if you want to watch other videos on dating, relationships, communication, head over to the channel, subscribe there, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.